Communication comes from the Latin word "communicare", which means to share. Sharing information, ideas, feelings, and emotions makes communication. There are four skills that are essential for effective communication: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Of the four skills, listening is the basic skill. Communication process is incomplete without listening. Listening is different from hearing. Hearing is involuntary, whereas listening is voluntary. We need to focus, we need to concentrate, we need to pay attention in listening. In a nutshell, listening is a process of receiving, interpreting, and reacting to a message received from the speaker. And in the process of listening, we sense, recognize, interpret, evaluate, respond, and remember the message delivered. Therefore, we need some basic skills in order to do all this processing. And to acquire these skills, we need to follow traditional method of language learning. That is how a child learns a language. In the very first year, the child listens. Mother, father, grandparents, and everyone around the child talks to the child and they tell stories, and the child continuously listens, and then the child tries to speak. And that is how we have to improve our communication skills also. Listening is the foundation skill, and there are different types of listening. First type is content listening. In this type of listening, the primary focus is on understanding the message. The next type is empathetic listening. We do this type of listening when we are with our friends or our close circle people. So when they share their emotions, we empathize with them and we listen. Appreciative listening is the next type. It is listening for pleasure or enjoyment. For example, we listen to audiobooks, music, and next type is analytical listening. Listening to a particular message in order to analyze is analytical listening. And when we listen, we have different types of barriers, and they are called barriers to listening. There are four types of barriers to listening. First type is physical barrier. Any physical disturbance in the process of listening is called physical barrier. We all know about noise, and noise in communication is not sound, unwanted sound, but it is any disturbance in the process of communication. And here in listening, any unwanted loud sound, poor ventilation, high or low temperature, physical illness, poor seating, poor audio facilities, these are some of the physical barriers to listening. When we are not comfortable physically, we cannot listen properly. Next type is psychological barrier. So if we are preoccupied with some thoughts, or if we have some problem with the speaker, if we have some problem with the topic, or if we have some other problems running in the back of our minds, then we cannot properly listen. So that is psychological barrier. Then comes cultural barrier. Cultural difference between the listener and the speaker is the reason for cultural barrier, and this may have an impact in the listening. If a listener is put in particular culture, and if the speaker's culture is shocking the listener, then the listener cannot listen properly to the speaker. Then comes linguistic barrier. If the listener is unable to understand the language or unable to understand the jargons used by the speaker, then again the listening cannot be complete. And how to improve our listening skills. The first and foremost thing we should do to improve